Porn is destroying America. It's destroying the minds of young men. It's corrupting our youth. It's a sickness. It's a plague that is terrorizing America currently. There's never been an age more in human history where it's ever been so accessible. Everything is at the grasp of fingertips. Kids at young ages, middle school, even elementary school, are being exposed to these evil things that are just corrupting their mind. Like, it's scientifically proven that it's literally corrupting the minds of children and young adults, all ages, and it's constantly happening across America. It's horrible. If we don't put a stop to it now, it's just gonna continue to get worse. So I'm gonna break down what exactly it's doing and what are the steps that we need to take to really cast this down and reverse all the damage that is being done. Because if we don't, it's a very dark future for how America is running. First, it's the constant perversion. The constant perversion that happens within society is disgusting. We've already seen it this year taking place with celebrities being discovered, being outed. We've seen it with even pastors within famous churches get outed, and it continues to be different famous people, YouTubers, people that worked with YouTubers, and all these different famous people. And it's like all this perversion is being exploited with people talking to minors, like sexually explicit images, all these disgusting, atrocious acts are happening. And you're wondering, like, how is all of this happening? Like, all of this is being unfolded this year? Like, what else is happening in the shadows? What else has been happening for years, for decades, as far as we know? Like, what else is happening? This constant perversion that is being brought upon the younger generations, upon the younger minds. And what they're not going to tell you is they're going to be like, oh, well, no, it's not. It's not normal. It is not normal for middle schoolers to be seeing things like that. It's not normal for people to be looking at videos of other people having intercourse and saying, oh, that is a normal thing. That is something that, oh, it's a normal part of society. No, it's not normal. You can even look back. You can talk to people that are older. You can ask people that, like 30 years ago, that wasn't a thing. People didn't have the internet to do that. They did not. Like, the whole entire thing that happened was, like, they had to go to a whole little special room with special tapes, and, they would have to be able to go to a store and all that. And it was the thing that was, if someone tried to do that, it was very frowned upon. It was, there was a lot of shame going into it. But then now it's just like, oh, everything's on the phone, everything's on a computer, things are on TV, things are on TV channels, which is crazy. And it's like they want to really destroy the minds of a youth, because it's like, think about it, if they can really take hold and really form and manipulate the minds to be so just sexually perverse, and like every single thing is so sexual, everything is just seeking gratification, then it's like they have control. Think about, like, even the start of Google Images, whether you know it or not, it actually started because of a famous dress that JLo was wearing, and so many people wanted to see it that that's how Google Images actually was created. You can look it up yourself. So the constant perversion that is happening within society, and it's just disgusting. Like, it is truly disgusting. Like, it seems like it's everywhere on Instagram, on Twitter, on social media, all different social media. Like, you'll see, like, even like they're big YouTubers. I'm not gonna say any names, but they're YouTubers that literally market their videos towards kids, towards teens, towards young people. And it's like the whole thumbnails are like, they're dressed in like skimpy bikinis, and like, the things all like, the clarity sliders and the details turned up on the sliders for the images in Photoshop. I can know that because I've literally been a photographer for years. And they're like doing all of this just to go and like catch the attention of all these young people. And they know their audiences are young people, yet they remain fine with it. They remain fine with they're taking advantage of the minds of the youth and are just saying, oh, you know what, well, everyone else is doing it, so we can just continue. What? You're telling me it's like every single place you look, it's horrible. Everything is being sexualized. It doesn't even matter. It's even gotten to the points of books, because not just guys, I'm talking women as well and girls. It's like, look at the books that they're literally giving to kids in middle school. Like the things that are happening within those books. What? You're telling me that middle schoolers are being exposed to that, high schoolers are being exposed to that, and then you want to start saying, "Oh, why are all these problems? Why is little Johnny having this problem? Why, like?" And you're wondering, it's because everything is being planted within their minds from a young age. I forgot the exact number, but it's like the average age that a young guy will be shown sexually explicit images is all the way, it's around like 13 or 14. 13 or 14. 13 is like an eighth grader. You realize how crazy that is? Really? Like perversion, it's gotten that normal. It's gotten that common to where everything, and it's like even affecting the language. Like you ever like look at the some of the lingo, I guess, that is being spoken by like Gen Z or like Gen Alpha, and it's like the things that are spoken, the jokes that are the innuendos that are used so frequently and commonly by young kids. And I'm not just talking about high schoolers, I'm talking about middle schoolers, I'm talking about even elementary school kids, because I have a younger sister, and the things like she'll say that like guys will say in fourth grade, and I'm like, well, huh? Like you, like kids say this stuff in fourth grade? Like it is literally trickling down and causing perversion in all different ways. Every single place that you think, and it often remains hidden. It remains silent until it happens in this one big thing. Oh, this kid assaulted this person, or this person asked for images in middle school. That's actually an incident that happened in my own middle school. That guy, like, he ended up getting a lot of trouble, but he asked for images of other girls within middle school. And I remember everyone was shocked that day, because that kid, he was like a top student, he's a top athlete. He literally looked like one of those kids that was gonna do amazing. He was gonna probably go get a scholarship or something. And it's like his whole life seemed to crumble into that one moment where he asked for sexually explicit images of other kids within our own grade. Like, what? Like, it's such a common thing, and the things that are shared, and it's all coming from this consumption of sexual content. Next, the constant consumption of corn and all these other different images is creating this phenomenon. I don't even know if phenomenon's the right word to use for it, but like you're seeing a rise in how many pedophiles there are, how many people are, you know, are are picking on people that are younger, going purposefully after these younger people, going purposefully after, these innocent, all these, because it's like they're watching all these images, they're watching all these different things, and these are disgusting, like, things that are happening, and it's like, once you expose, it's like a person that's addicted to drugs. Once they start one thing, someone starts weed, and then they start indulging in different other drugs. The next thing you know, they're all the way on cocaine eventually. I'm not saying that's all cases, but that's literally just an example of how it works, because it's like they have that first instance of it, and it keeps getting worse and worse, and then it just has to become these even more vile, disgusting acts, these things, and it's like they're just serving this flesh, this evil, like this disgusting thing, because it's like they feel like they need more and more and more, and then it becomes to these acts where you have things like CP and all these different things, and people and kids and trafficking and all these different things that are happening so common. Like, why does there seem to be such a rise in it happening? Like, it's not even just because, like, things are more aired now, but truly there is a rise happening, and it seems a lot more common with all what people with all these weird things. And like, you have things with like people with animals now, like furry stuff, and all these different things, and it's starting from what they're watching and what they're entertaining in their minds, what they're allowing within their souls. And if you don't stop it now, if things aren't changed now, then it's just gonna continue to get worse, as we're already seeing within 2024. Like, you hear these things, like people make jokes, and they're like, oh, what about siblings, and like incest and all these disgusting things. People are yearning for things like that because like it starts small, but then it gets even worse and progresses into something even worse and evil and even more twisted. Like people don't realize how it's spiraling. It's literally changing how people are thinking. It's creating, I also want to talk about how it's creating these unrealistic lives and expectations within, relationships. It's like people, like a bunch of guys now, because they watch things like that, they're just like, oh, okay, well then it's fine to just be with like 50,000 different women. Like it's fine to be done with like 50 women in like a week, and be, and just have a high body count. For women, it's like they're being exposed to all that, and they're being taught that, oh, it's okay for their bodies to just be taken advantage of as just tools, and it's the only thing that that provides value. Like all these different things. It's like how you have problems with now OnlyFans, and it's like people want to blame. Oh well, it's all the women. No, but look at the guys. Like it's the guys that are paying for this. It's the guys it's the young men. It's all these men also that are going and paying for all this. It's the men. Like they wouldn't have a job. They wouldn't have an opportunity if there weren't people paying for it. How is there? There's a whole entire thing. It was like I forgot how much money OnlyFans is making, but it's billions. You're telling me billions have been made off of guys spending money on that. And young men don't want to say, oh, no, I don't have a problem. It's normal. What everyone else is doing. No, you can't do what everyone else is doing. You can't indulge in everything that, everyone else is doing. Like, you can't live by the flesh. You can't serve these just evil and demonic gratifications. Like truly, like look at it. Look at how many people are abused within that industry. Look at the horrible perversions that are happening in everyday society. Look at the evil that is happening. Look at how it's literally changing the minds of young men, how it's literally messing up their brains. They're like doing research, and it's literally corrupting brains. It's like causing damage. And there's certain amounts that like people watch it so much, it's literally caused irreversible damage to the brain because of something they watched on the screen. If that doesn't show how evil and horrible it is, then I don't know what else to tell you. The next thing I really want to talk about is just how normalized and common everything has become in society. It seems like just like people, like they know it's wrong, but it's just normal to the point to where they're just like, well, they do it, so like why can't I do it? They have sex every day with different people, and they're just having sex outside of marriage, and they're just living these crazy lives with these high body counts, and they're like, well, I mean, everyone else is doing it, so it's normal. It seems like it's normal for it to happen. It's normal for people to have this it's normal for young guys to have this super sexualized view of women. No, it's not normal. Like, have you ever watched like there's videos on like social media with like to pop the balloons, and it's like you'll hear some of the things that these guys are saying, and you're like, what? Like this is what you want? Or like you hear like guys talking, and you like they're even like bigger guys on like social media, and they're like, oh yeah, well you have to sleep with a bunch of women on, and then if not, then you're like you're weak, you're a wuss if you don't. Like what? Really? And it's like becoming so common, and it's like you're seeing these things, and it's affecting all these young people. And I want to keep going back to young people because it's truly the young men that they're aiming after. It's because they know if they can take down the young man, then they can cripple and topple the whole entire family. Why do we live in a culture where everything is like baby mamas and baby daddy this, and like it seems like every single time you scroll on like Instagram or like TikTok, it seems like you're seeing this whole new couple, and it's like they're having kids outside of marriage. They're, it's like a normal thing, and it's a normal thing to have several kids with different people, and people are treating like, oh well, that's my baby mom. Like what? Like they treat it like it's a normal thing. Like I'm telling you, you can look, and I'm not trying to be like, oh, one of those old people, like, oh, back in the day, but no, truly, like, look at it, like 30 years ago. It was not a flex to say, "Oh yeah, we have several baby mamas. I have several kids all over the place." No, back then you'd be like, "What? What are you doing with your life? Like, why are you in the streets like this? Why are you leaving these women? Why are you a father that's gone from the house?" But now it's just looked upon and it's just like, oh yeah, yeah, clap, clap, clap. Yeah, it's normal to, oh, it's even looked at as cool. It's just like, oh yeah, I have four baby. Like what? When did we get to a point to where everything was so normalized? It's so normalized. You hear these talk the pop the balloons, and it's like you see women, and it's like they have several men, and it's just like, what? How do we get to a point to where everything is so normalized, to where everything is so perverted, everything is so taken out of line of what it's supposed to be, where a marriage is supposed to be between a man and a woman, and they come together and are binded together by God and literally have kids, and that is how it's supposed to work. They become one. But then you're taking an act that's supposed to be meant for one person and you're going and spreading it, and you're wondering why, and like teens and like young adults are wondering, like, why do I feel so broken? Why do I feel like this? Well, because you have soul ties with like 50 different people. You're like out here and you're getting soul ties with all these different people. You're going out and you're wondering, oh, why do I feel like there's a piece of me missing? Why does it feel like, and these are very real things. You can, even science backs it up. It literally proves that when people have sex, there's literally a connection that happens, and literally a piece of them is literally, like their DNA is literally transferred within them. It's a quite amazing but scary thing, because it's like you think how many people are just out there in the streets and just having sex rampantly, and it's like how much have they just really just carried and let themselves out there? Like, why is it so normalized? So every single thing is just normalized, and it's like, I especially want to focus on the guys. Everything is normalized. It seems like masturbation is normalized, watching porn is normalized, all these different weird kinks and all these things and just furries and all these disgusting things are so normalized within society, and normalized, and like, young guys are talking about it, and like it's a normal thing. No, it is not normal. No, it's not normal. Literally, I remember like my friend telling me how he used to be in football, and there were guys that they watched porn on a school bus to a football game. They watched that together in on a bus, and he was like those people are weird. Like, why would they do something like that? But they were doing it like it was normal, and I'm like, what? Like, it's become that normal. It's become that much of a ritual, that much of, you know, a daily habit, that much of something that is just, it's like no longer even looked upon badly. It's just looked upon like, oh yeah, it's normal. No, you need to stop the normalization of it. You need to stop. It is not normal. It is not a common thing. This is not something that's, oh, it's been existing for years. No, this is something very new, and this is a horrible problem that is happening, and it needs to be taken down. Like, within the culture, like, and it needs to be taken down. It needs to be taken down. So here's the steps I truly want everyone watching this video to follow. First, I would like you to share this video with someone, share with another guy. If you're going to share it with another woman, share it with other people, because I feel like there needs to be more awareness. It needs to be more talked about, because, it's often like taboo to, let's talk about like, oh, like how the young people are like being perverted and all these different things. It's viewed as taboo, or like things that we can't talk about. But no, it's a very real problem. It's a real epidemic that, I don't know if epidemic's the right word, but it's a very real problem that is happening in society, especially America. And I can already see it is literally collapsing families. It's breaking bonds. And it's like, you wonder why, like, you wonder why it's so hard to find a true relationship, within this generation. Well, it's because, look at what people are reading, look at what people are watching. This is something that are normalized. When you watch something over and over and over and you're consuming it, you're normalizing your brain to it. You're training your brain in these ways, because as the brain works, there are neural pathways. And the more you expose yourself to something, the more you progress yourself in something, the more you exercise something, that neural pathway builds a deeper and deeper like root within your brain, so it becomes even harder to break off. It starts to become something a part of your identity. That's why there are guys, their whole entire identity is just to get, it's just literally just to have sex with girls. That's why, you know, their whole entire girls, where it's like their whole entire thing, it's OnlyFans. And that's, you know, it seems like social media with, they say they're doing social media, but it's really just OnlyFans and targeting towards young guys and young males. And it's like, and it's literally quite a part of their identity. And you're wondering, like, why don't they do something else with their life? Because it's a part of who they, like, it literally, they made it to where it's a part of who they are. So first, I want you to share, I wanted to bring more awareness to this problem and to really cast it down. Two, you need to stop. You need to stop reading whatever you're reading. If you need to delete Instagram, if you need to restrict people on Instagram, which is a tool like to where, like, you know, you might know people, but like they put things on their stories and you just do not need to watch, see stuff like that. Restrict them, block them. I think it's not spoken enough to just flee from it. People think this is something that you can fight. Like, especially guys, people are like, guys are like, oh yeah, I can fight less. I can be at the club. I can be at the party. I can be around all these girls and nothing's ever gonna happen. Yeah, you know, it might not happen the first time or the second time, but what happens that fourth time, you know, where you're at a club and you know you get enticed by other people. Like you're thinking you have this power to fight it, but you don't. You quite literally do not have the power to fight it. The Bible says to flee. Look at what it says in, you know, there's a famous person, Daniel. When Potiphar's wife, he fled, he ran. It literally says, if you talk about in Proverbs, it literally says, you know, it's literally talking about like the prostitute's house. And it's like, don't even go near the road. Don't even go by her house. Don't even go by, you know, her pathway to her house. Don't even go near there. So that means don't even entice yourself. Don't even put yourself in situations of compromise. Don't even put yourself in situations where you can fall to this. You need to cut everything out within your life. I need you to evaluate everything within your life. What are you watching? What are the movies you're watching? If you, like, you can't watch, like, it's like a person that's addicted to alcohol. If they're trying to be sober and they're trying to get off of this addiction to alcohol, going to a party with a bunch of people drinking is not a smart idea. Like, it just doesn't make sense. So it's like the same thing. Why are you watching a rated R movie, you know, that is rated R for sexually explicit reasons, and you're trying to beat lust, you're trying to break all these habits, and you're going to watch that same movie? Really? Really? Like, you're trying to break these habits, but you still want to follow all these models, you want to follow all these celebrities, very well knowing what they're posting. Like, really, you have to evaluate every single thing with your life. Evaluate what you're reading, evaluate what you're listening to. Music is so important. That is another thing that is tearing down men. It's like every single thing you want to listen to, all the rap songs that are talked about. Why is everything's about, you know, violence and, you know, sexualizing women? Like, even the music videos, like, why is every woman like half naked in it? Like, come on, like, what are you exposing yourself to? You really think that what you're listening to, and you're playing it over and over, and these melodies and these rhythms, and they're going within your soul, and you're thinking they're not having an effect on you? Musicians have literally talked about XX Tentacion. He's literally talked about how the music industry does that to literally go and alter people, to mess with people, to ingrain these things within people. Literally, Kanye, he literally went out and talked about it recently as well, about how even the things with 808s that are put in within music, these lyric vibrations, and they're purposefully put in within the music. Like, you really think, oh, they're not gonna take advantage of music? Michael Jackson, there's an interview with him, and he was literally talking about how it's literally mantras are why do you think there's a chorus? Why do you think there are these things that are spoken over and over, these lyrics that are hummed, you know, these things that are catchy, spoken over and over, continuously, over and over, to where, you say like, oh, I have this beat stuck in my head, I have this song stuck in my head, but you have these mantras, and it's like they have these lyrics, and you don't even realize that they're taking root within your soul. What you're watching, you want to watch all these movies, you want to go out with all these people and, watch all the same things, and you're wondering why you have this problem. Like, you can't. You can't do that. You can't live a life of purity. You can't live a life where you're trying to be free, but you're still exposing yourself to all these things. You need to evaluate and remove. You should go into a state where you need to go put yourself in isolation and truly look at everything with your life. Look at everything that you're consuming and realize what you need to take out. Because if you don't take it out now, you're gonna allow that seed to grow. And when you eventually, once you eventually get into a relationship with a woman, you eventually get into marriage and you have a family, and you're wondering why you have these problems, why are you still watching these things, and you have a family and you have kids, why you're allowing yourself to take part in these things, and you have whole entire families. It's like, why you see like all these, like, you'll see like your pastors and all of that, and they have like beautiful wives, they have amazing families, and they still somehow cheat on their wife, and you're like, I would never do that, I could never do that. But no, it's because they had the same problem. They were watching things, they were watching all the sexual explicit material, and because they didn't deal with it when it was small, it took root in their life, and it continued to grow and grow, and it messed up their whole entire marriage. It's literally breaking families. It's literally tearing down whole entire families. It's it's bigger than you. It's going across generations. This is a plan and plot of the enemy. If he can take down the man with this one simple thing, then he can break whole entire families. Their fathers, they're not there because of that. Their kids, they're gonna have to grow up without a father in their life because their father simply had an addiction to, pornography and all these things, and cheating and getting with other women and all these other things, and their father wasn't there. And you know what, that causes problems with the children. Children grow up without a father, and the mother has all that stress, and it's like, that's negatively affecting the mother and then the kids. And then if the kids don't change that, then it's gonna go on to their kids, and now you have a whole entire generational cycle where it's taking place. It's time we take action. It's time that America, we change. It's time we step up. It's time that the change really happens, especially young guys. I'm really speaking to the young men out there. It's our responsibility. Our responsibility. It starts with the man first, because if the man can get it right together, then he can lead his household right. If he's following God's plan, if he's being led by God, then everything that he gets is leading his wife and leading his children on the path that God has in store, that Jesus has in store, that Jesus has set out for. But if you're living a life with all these things secretly behind doors, it eventually will get surfaced. It'll eventually come out later, sooner or later. Whether it might not happen within the next couple years, it might not happen within 5 or 10 years. But when it happens horribly, and it's a horrible fall. Because you know what the enemy likes to do? He likes to keep things secret. He likes to keep it hidden. He likes to keep it small. And then it likes to let it grow secretly. And then it's right when you have success. It's like you see people right when they have a bunch of success, right when it seems like they're at their peak, when they're, in their prime, then everything comes crashing down. Everything falls apart. So it needs to be handled now. It needs to be handled now brutally. It needs to be handled. It needs to be taken down right now aggressively, because if this doesn't happen aggressively now, then the future of America is truly going to be in shambles. I'm not going to tell you that right now, because we're the next generation growing up. And everything that we're doing is going to pass on to our kids and then their kids. So our kids' kids and generations after that. It's our responsibility to change now. It's our responsibility to break bad habits, to get free, to truly be the change that is needed within society, that is needed within this world. Break free. Now, it would be amazing if you could like or subscribe, just so this could reach more people. That is whole entire goal. I want this message to be spread to more people. You can share it, like it, comment below, and yeah, that's the whole entire goal. I really want more people just to get exposure and it to be talked about, because it is a hard topic for many people to speak about, because there are many atrocious things that have happened to people's youth. There are people that have been, touched in ways that they're not supposed to, that led to that. There are people that are abused and it led to those things. But if it's not dealt with now, those things are going to continue, and they're going to continue to get worse, as we're seeing right now. It'll only get worse. And it becomes then a question of, do you even feel safe with your kids going to school? Do you feel safe with your younger brother, your older sister, your younger sister, your older brother? Do you feel safe with any of them going to the playground, going to the park, going to school, being in a public place, going to use a restroom? Like, do you have to, like, you don't want to live in a society where you have to fear that there's a grown man that's like a predator on kids just within the public restroom. Like now that's like an actual thought, which is horrible that we live in a society like that. And things will only continue to go downhill if it's not dealt with aggressively now. And it all starts with us. It all starts with us individually, and starts with our friend groups. And it starts with, once we affect our friend groups and people that we know, then they branch out and change the lives of their people that they know. And it continues to grow. It's just like a little, I don't know what you call it, like a Venn diagram, I guess. I don't know if that's the word for it. But no, like a web. Like it just starts with one dot, and then, two spring out from here, and then two spring out from that one, two spring out from that one. And it continues to spread. And it grows just exponentially to where people are being helped. Their lives are being changed. And all for the better. But if we don't start now, then when will we ever start? When will freedom be achieved? When will all this perversion come to an end? We can't let it be normalized. We can't let it be a common thing that just happens. We can't just let it be something that, gets away with. It needs to end here. It needs to stop now.